If you're like me, you've been seeing an increase in requests and inquiries since the start of the lifting of the pandemic restrictions. And you've probably been getting lots and lots of requests for deals and discounts. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to handle these potential guests in a way that gets you the best guests and keeps your hosting stats high so that you can keep on getting requests. Welcome to another episode of Airbnb Uncovered. I'm Matt, the creator of AirbnbUncovered.com and Airbnb Superhost. On this channel, I uncover some of the best kept hosting secrets, as well as share with you everything that I've learned after hosting over 3,000 guests. My tips, tricks, and best practices are all focused on helping new hosts earn more revenue, attract the best guests, and achieve Superhost status faster. If you've been following my channel, you know that the more activity you get on your listing, the more activity you will continue to get. This is generally a good thing, except when all you're getting is messages from guests that you don't want to host. Declining or ignoring these guests will cause your listing to drop in search results, and eventually you'll see your inquiries and requests drop off completely. So what kinds of guests don't you want to host? Well, they're the obvious ones. Locals who are wanting to come to your place and party, and guests with poor previous reviews. But what about deal seekers? Is there any harm in giving them a deal? Stay tuned to find out. Pre-coronavirus, there was a common understanding among the Airbnb host community that deal-seeking guests were generally bad guests. And after about 3,000 completed reservations, I would say that this was true about 60% of the time. So if 60% of these guests aren't worth it, who makes up the other 40%? These 40% are generally guests that generally just want a deal. They're the people who buy floor models in stores, wait for a sale before buying something, and they always ask the salesperson if that's the best they can offer. These guests are generally good, and they simply want the satisfaction of knowing that they didn't have to pay the same price as everybody else, probably because they want to think they're special. This group sounds pretty harmless, but you're probably wondering, well, what's so bad about the other 60% of deal-seeking guests? Generally speaking, the other 60% of deal-seeking guests want something for nothing, and they have high expectations. These high expectations will have you bending over backwards to get a 5-star review. And often after all that extra work, you're going to come back to your home to find that the guest has left it in a poor state and cleaned you out of all of your amenities and consumables. So in the end, you've worked twice as hard as you normally would, and you had to replace nearly all your amenities, clean a mess, and you've also earned less money. The silver lining among deal seekers is that they generally don't throw parties or cause any actual damage. But in my opinion, this is a losing proposition all around. Pre-pandemic, I would say that 10% of my inquiries came from deal seekers. And just like so many other things that are now different in the age of coronavirus, this too is changing. I would now say that the proportion of deal-seeking messages that I get is now more like something like 50%. So how do you handle deal-seeking guests? The first thing to bear in mind is that if you decline too many requests, your acceptance rate is going to go down. And a lower acceptance rate means a lower search ranking and ultimately fewer inquiries and requests. So you want to avoid this. You also never want to decline an inquiry. And I explain why that is in another video that you can watch by clicking on the little I in the top right-hand corner of this video. Then you want to figure out whether or not you're dealing with a deal seeker guest from the 40% I just want some kind of deal so I can feel special category, or is the guest from the 60% I want everything for nothing category. And to do this, you're going to first start with the guest profile. Notorious deal seekers who want everything for nothing are going to have reviews suggesting that they're this type of guest. But many hosts don't come right out and say it, so you're going to have to read between the lines and look for a pattern. And if you do have this type of guest, I suggest not hosting them unless you're really in need of the income. But if the guest has no reviews, then you're going to need to ask questions as we normally would. So you can start with examining how they asked for the deal. Was it respectful and in a reasonable range? Or was it some kind of outlandish and insulting offer to your listing? Avoid the guests who sent the insulting offer, but if the offer sounds reasonable, go back with a small discount, maybe 5% or waive your cleaning fee, depending on how much that is. But remember, there's no need to meet your guests in the middle, unless you want to. And if the guest accepts without any more haggling, then you've probably got a reasonable guest who just wanted to not pay the same as everybody else. If you're unsure how to handle deal-seeking guests that you don't want to host, or just generally guests that you're not sure about hosting, then I did a video on that too. And you can watch it by clicking on the little I in the upper right-hand corner, or you can download my free guide on how to attract the best guests and avoid the worst ones. The reality of hosting during the coronavirus pandemic means that you're going to have to give deals to deal-seeking guests. And the other reality is that you're likely going to have to offer some discounts to stay fully booked. And with this reality, I've raised my prices just a tiny bit so that I've got a little bit of wiggle room. There is a double benefit here, and if I get booked at the posted rate, then I'm going to earn more than I expected. And if I do have to offer a discount, then I'm back where I started. How much have I raised my prices? Well, maybe about 5 to 10%. And that's because it's the max I'm willing to offer a deal-seeking guest. Any more, and I'm almost guaranteeing that I've got an everything for nothing kind of deal seeker. Now, the notion of walking away from some guests may have some of you worried, since you might believe that there aren't that many guests out there, and that if you don't host every guest that comes your way, you're going to stay completely vacant. And this is not so. The data coming out of Airbnb and other Airbnb data integrators is showing that Airbnbs are on the rebound, and that's particularly if you're hosting in a destination or rural area. For many of these markets, the search and booking volume is actually above pre-COVID levels. So please stay the course and continue to host only the best guests. Deal-seeking guests, they're the new reality, and they're likely here to stay for a few years. We can thank perpetual media reports about the travel industry, and particularly the ones about airlines. And all they're doing is highlighting massive declines in trips, and I think that that's going to continue to fuel guest beliefs that everybody in the travel industry is suffering and we have to accept whatever revenue we get. And that's just not the case. Instead, as hosts, we're going to be equipped with the tools and strategies I just shared with you. We're going to be willing to offer a discount when it's merited, and we're going to walk away when it's the right thing to do. We are a group of responsible and reliable hosts. We're not desperate. If you're planning to use the strategies that I just shared in this video, and even if you're just going to use one of them, then I ask that you please give this video a thumbs up and rate it highly if you're asked. Hopefully you'll want to see more of these types of strategies, and if so, please subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell. This channel is all about helping new hosts earn more, host the best guests, and reach superhost status faster. So stay tuned for next week's video, and until then, bye for now.